beauty is, I guess, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? So it depends on who sees you like what.
Now you're getting into more philosophical discussion. Hey, this is Abdul Karim Ahmed, also known as AKA from the Intense Show. Today we have a very interesting guest all the way from Pakistan. I think this is one of the guests, which has a very diverse kind of a portfolio when it comes to academic, when it comes to experience, and it will be a very interesting conversation whereby we would be talking about himself as also how does he perceives and understands about the beauty and the diverse culture between from East and West. So roll the intro. Hey, Mr. Asif, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Mr. Asif, I have known you for quite some time. I would say more than a year, but I would say, I would just like to understand who is Asif.
Okay, do you want my?
No, just who is Asif? Everybody, if anybody wants to know who is Asif, what will you know?
I have a very complicated personality, so I have to break it down in a few things. Okay, Asif. First of all, if you are talking about business right now,
no, in general, forget about the business part. Let's who is Asif? That's it. Just explain us.
Asif would be I can talk about my passion.
Yes.
Okay. So my passion is designing stuff, and I love to design. I can stay awake whole nights, just designing stuff. So I started my business, which was a passion. Even though I've done many other business, I've done textiles. Before that, I've done many things. But for me, this thing, designing stuff, is my real passion. And I started with shoes first. So I had this brand called Nine West in Pakistan, and unfortunately, it didn't take off very well as it was supposed to, because the reason I was getting it from Dubai. There was this group in Dubai which was sub-franchising as a brand. So for that reason, first of all, the goods were quite expensive as it was coming through Dubai. And Dubai is the most expensive place in the world. So everything from Dubai is expensive. And then secondly, all the designs that we took in were either 3 or 4 months old, because they were coming from Dubai again. So they were already displayed in Dubai. So in Pakistan, whoever bought Nine West from us thought this is like 3 months old design, because it was already seen in Dubai. And Dubai is just next door for us. So it didn't take off that well. Then I started a new brand called 19, which Alhamdulillah is doing very well. I make my own designs, I do handbags, shoes, everything. So that has taken off, mashallah. Then I entered the perfume business about, I think, a year ago. And as you say, you met me 1 year ago, right?
Right.
So I met you in Dubai. Right. Remember, I met you in Dubai during that show, in the beauty show.
Yes.
And you were so modest. I said, Abdul Karim, what are you doing here? He said, yeah, I have a small business of perfumes. I said, okay, let's see how small. Then I came here and I saw how small the business is. So mashallah, doing very well. So that was the first meeting we had about a year ago, right? And so talking about perfumes, so I got into perfumes. People said that you have a good eye for design and everything. So let's start. So you got eyes. Let's see if you have a good nose or not. So that's why I started this now.
Interesting.
And it's very interesting because I found the sense of smell. It's a unique smell, because that's the only smell which can take you to memories. So I was studying in London at the time, and
I think I wanted to take a little bit of back journey in a very now
I'll tell you about my story.
So no. So now I think the thing what you mentioned about, right? So you said, okay, you have a very amazing passion to do that. So let me ask you, how do you define passion?
Passion is something which you love doing. So passion is not money. Passion does not count that you're making good money, that's your passion. Passion is something which is beyond money. So which you just love doing it, whether you make money or not.
So that means you are basically outside the realm of the time. You can devote yourself n number of hours, but you can keep on doing it without.
I can keep on doing it for hours and hours, 24/7. I can keep on doing it. And I would love to do it.
Interesting.
Money is the secondary in that stage. That's just doing it. So if the money comes with it, it's a bonus for you. But when you've done something you have a passion in, you feel good about it. So that's just what it is.
Perfect.
So as I was saying, sorry, this is a very important point I want to say. So as I was studying in London, and I went for a school trip to Europe. So
Okay.
we were in Amsterdam. Okay, so I'm talking about many years ago. I was maybe 15 years old at the time.
You are still young though.
It's not very young. So I was 15 years old at the time. So I was in this flower shop in Amsterdam.
Okay.
And suddenly,
Uh-huh.
it reminded me of my mom.
Interesting.
So I said, this smell of the flowers, because my mom used to wear Chanel number 5. So their smell. So that's what I'm saying. The perfume smell is the sense of sense
It
of
just
smell.
takes you
it
time.
takes you anywhere. So so that's the main thing. No other except for maybe old songs you hear. You know, I've heard this song somewhere else. But the smell can take you anywhere. So
Right.
that's one thing.
You
So I
travel
really
back in
wanted
times.
to be at the time. So that's one of the things I really wanted to do. So that's how I got into the perfume business. You know, I wanted to really do something with my nose now.
True.
So
No, that's
Yeah.
interesting because I think as you mentioned, right? So you have, so with respect to how your early life went by, right? So you have had a very intense education in London, and then for your higher education, then you came to United States over there, right? So I think, you know, if you're speaking in the spectrum of the beauty and fashion and style stuff like that, so if you will just just kind of explain a little bit what your thought process is when it comes to beauty lifestyle in London compared to USA.
you see, London at that time and still is. It was a cosmopolitan city, right? So you have fashions from all over the world. You have from the Middle East, from Far East, from Europe. Maybe US in those days wasn't that much of open to the people would travel to US, but not as much as in London. It was the center of everything, center of fashion. So
People have always looked London like the point where
Yeah,
they
it
would
was-
look up to them,
Yeah, yeah.
kind of imitate what they're doing. And I think
Exactly.
it's still there at some capacity right
it
now.
is still
also.
there, but now we have more places like maybe New York is coming up a lot.
Yes.
It is still, so, but in those days, London was the center of center of fashion, right? So what I learned more about fashion in London than there was nowhere else. That's what,
Really?
So that's the reason why I had this eye for fashion, starting from my early days in London.
So when you talk about the fashion and the beauty, so how do you kind of break down into it with respect to how do you see beauty as? Like, okay, just from wearing stuff over there, from what elements are associated when you say beauty, the word beauty? Let's put it that way.
It's a very aesthetic sense. You have to have an aesthetic sense for. You have to know what colors to match, what design would go, would not go, how not to make it overdressed, or
Very interesting.
You have to know how
So
to not
what
look
would you
tacky.
advise me, like a person like me who has no idea about beauty?
Beauty is beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? So it depends on who sees you like what.
Now you're getting
But-
into more philosophical discussion here.
But for me, I think beauty is something which is good to the eye. It looks
Okay.
nice. It should not be tacky. It should look good in the eye. That's not overdressed. I think there's always a beauty in simplicity.
That is true, because
So-
whenever
so-
I have also personally met you, right, in any capacity from I've seen that kind of level, I would say, level of elegance in your dressing. And even my dad also, right, he's like very particular when it comes to the way how he dresses, the way how like the match, as you mentioned over there. But there's a huge number of people right now also here who really don't care about this stuff.
So it really depends. It really depends. Like if you talk about all the rich people like Bill Gates or Mark Zuckerberg, they dress up in black t-shirts,
Yeah.
but they're doing well, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so I say one more.
Is that the reason you're wearing black shirt right now?
it's a navy blue, but I know it's not that. It's just that I would not wear something with a brand name on it. I would not wear something that
Interesting.
says Armani or Boss on it. I don't want to wear that. So it
You
can
want
be
to maintain your own identity
simplicity.
itself.
No, it's just simplicity is better. So instead of making it very gaudy, like with the big names, or like Hugo Boss belt, or this, I prefer not to. So I prefer to be more neutral. So in that way, so I find and they say nowadays a minimalistic approach is much more better.
True.
So even if you come to my house, very simple, like we'll see white walls, everything. So that is how I am. Maybe that's what I've been.
Interesting. So I think that's a core definition of how you see beauty as.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I see simple.
Simplicity is
yeah,
beauty.
Yeah.
So okay, now you move to United States, and here it's a complete different world altogether. So what have your experience has been when you were pursuing your higher education here, and how did you see as over here, like, okay, did your definition of beauty kind of changed by interacting with people here? Because over here the way I have seen is that it's very limited.
I spent about 8 years in London, right? And in USA it was about 4 years.
Okay.
So I was still carrying on the same passion of fashion, everything that was in London. So I never got up to the US fashion. So maybe I was just going to say, so I never got up to the US fashion, because I never did, So I always, and I always look different in front of my friends in US. Because
I have a big question mark over here. The fashion what you have here is literally it's even called a fashion. I mean, there is no standardization, I would say. As you mentioned, right? So, especially in London, right? So there has been some level of, I would say, a class, which is maintained over there. Here it's a little bit different. I don't know how do you define it as. I'm not an expert on that field over here.
I think over here, fashion is not the most important thing. Maybe there's a small section of people who would go into fashion, but I don't think for Americans, fashion is a big thing right now.
Why is that so?
Clothing fashion. I don't think they put too much effort in clothes, or maybe in maybe men or women, they would go for cosmetic surgeries in Los Angeles or California, all that's fine. But clothing sense, I've not seen that in, I don't think they've worked very hard in clothing.
So is it a good or is it a bad thing?
It's both actually. I mean, we should not put so much emphasis on clothing when you have other things to do.
True.
Yeah,
and I think that's where your initial point comes into, like, why the big people over here do not focus a lot on clothing.
Exactly, yeah.
Just wear.
And I mean, people like that, rich people, why won't they waste so much time in opening up their wardrobe and seeing what to wear today? It's one black t-shirt, just put it on, that's it. So they don't have the time for all that. Like wasting half an hour in the closet is just to pick out clothes.
So is that the sign of being success?
Not really a success, but I mean, it's a sign of maybe not to waste time. I feel, like,
because a few days back, I removed all my shirts. I just kept black shirts in my closet.
Exactly, that's why you're wearing black. That's why you're wearing black today.
No, I always wear black.
Yeah, that's good.
I always wear black.
That's good.
And
black or white is perfect.
Yeah. So that's okay. So now after having this intense education in London, then you came to United States over here. You had the education over here, and then you moved to Pakistan, right? Of course, you had this family business, which I believe that you managed that for some time, and then after that phase, you then pursued it with your own passion, which was basically has been about the beauty and stuff like that. So if you can a little bit describe about how did that journey, what fascinated you, then and in Pakistan especially, where again, I think you'll be the best person to answer that. Like, how do people in Pakistan take beauty as, because they really get inspired, or they have their own sense of because Pakistan by itself, it's a very intense culture, how things are and stuff like that. But yet there's a huge group of people which also get inspired by what happens in West. So if you can a little bit describe where did about that part over there too.
See, nowadays in Pakistan, there was a time earlier when they were getting inspired by the West. A lot of designers, I know, I don't want to name them, but they would copy their styles from the Western designers. Like, they would incorporate the Western designs into the Eastern thing. Like if there was some beautiful dress by Dolce & Gabbana, right? And then they would copy that dress, but in an Eastern style, like they would make kameez shalwar out of it, Copy that. So that's how they got inspired. But now I've seen recently, for the past 2 or 3 years, I've seen a lot of local designers who are putting local styles. Like there's a brand called Manto. I don't know if you heard of Manto.
Yeah.
Manto has started making fabric with Urdu writing on it.
Calligraphy on it.
Urdu calligraphy on it. So people are going crazy, especially people from USA are going and buying from their shop. So their shop has gone 10 times sales.
What triggered that? I've heard about them also. Like what?
I don't know, but whatever it did was, they did a good job. People are going crazy over it. So a lot of Eastern, like we have Sindhi Ajrak culture coming in.
Right,
a lot of designs are coming in. So now that inspiration from the West has started fading now. So now they're putting in more, so now there are more educated people coming into this field, more women, especially young women are coming into this field and doing this. So Like there's so many clothing brands right now. You can't even count them. So
Wow.
so they're doing it because now it's all inspiration. It's not all Western inspiration anymore. It's all local.
So having this inspired you to get that culture element from the East, the Pakistan, to this part of the place.
It can work here as well. Like I don't know, that group called brand called Rasta.
Yes, yes.
They have brought the culture to Pakistan, from Pakistan to US, right? And that's doing so well. It is so popular amongst the people. So that's happening. But there's a certain limit to it.
No, but that's okay. Again, the brands what you are mentioning right now. So that's very. I would say they're targeting a very narrow audience. I would say, but still for
Pakistan, you mean?
In Pakistan or in US, but I'm thinking in mass people out here. So that still hasn't come in here for the majority of the people who can experience that. And I think one of the initiatives that's again we at Intense I would say Intense Butte, what we have is that one of the initiatives that we want to get that culture element from Pakistan, from Dubai, from the East actually to bring it over here, because we have this like years of culture out there, right? We have so much of history behind it. West, it's relatively new. 200-300 years, 400 years. I think when America kind of I mean, yes, of course it has a history of thousands of years, but to experience that in-depth element of culture from there to here, we are trying. And when whatever effort what we are making on our front, it really fascinates people. They're like, wow, this, because everything what is associated from there has a in-depth history behind it.
You're talking about Oud, right? Mm-hmm. So Oud is something which is very new for US.
It's very new for you, but it's been there for years. In East, it's been there.
That region, yes, but Oud has been new here. So, what is your experience here for Oud?
People, when we talk about Oud, first of all, because we have been in the industry for almost 5 to 6 years now, and we have spent a good amount of time nurturing and telling the people, explain about what is Oud and stuff, and it's really fascinating to them how the way it kind of we basically. Oud is formed, how it's being extracted, the whole process of there, and the fact that when it basically gets into the fragrances, what they and then they apply onto it, they feel different. They feel different, and then again, as you mentioned, right? So if
in what way you feel different? Like it's more stronger?
I wouldn't say more stronger. I would say it's different. And it's if you look at like a human, right? I mean, they want something different every time. But if there is an association to having something different, that basically triggers more. It clicks more, because now we're talking about, we're not just basically, it's not a synthetic thing, which you are just basically pouring into the bottle and they're using it. No. There's a whole process which goes behind it. The whole hard work which basically goes behind it to form this Oud out there. So when they study about it, because over here people, they're really fascinated about, they want to know about new things. They want to learn about different cultures and stuff like that. So we have been working very hard to do that. But yes, after that also, when they apply on themselves, it's unique. It's not like regular French fragrances which they apply. They
Tell me something, Abdul. Those when you bring in Oud, is it the big brands like Tom Ford, Dolce & Gabbana? They bring in Oud, Christian Dior. They bring in Oud perfumes. So does it work in US or it's only Middle East? They only root for Middle East.
No, it works here. I mean, look. Again, of course, that's a corporate companies out there. Yeah. These are the big companies, and they knew for a fact, that.
But it's not for just the Middle East market. It's for the
no. It's for people here to use it. Yes, but again, they are using super synthetic. They're not using original Oud at all.
That's not possible. I'll tell you why. I read about this a lot. For 5 milliliter of fragrance oil, how much rose petals do you need? It's 250,000 individual rose petals to make 5 ml of perfume, 5 ml of oil.
Wow!
So you can imagine how much flowers do you need to destroy to make 5 ml perfume.
I wouldn't use the word destroy.
Destroy. I mean, just squeezing out rose petals, so many beautiful roses, just to make 5 ml of oil.
I'm just trying to be nice to the flowers.
That's what I'm saying. Not to destroy that. 1.5 million acres of land is cultivated to make oil. 1.5 million acres, and probably go up to 2 or 5 to 3 million. I don't know how much is going. I'm talking about previous, and this land could be used to make maybe food for people, so many things. So just for this industry. So I think synthetic is a game now. So forget about natural. At one point they used to for musk they used to kill deers.
Yeah.
For the belly button, right?
Yes.
So
and the same thing.
How much for the bark, for that even oud tree, right? So so it has to be synthetic now. So we can't do natural oils anymore. That's what I feel.
No, that's true, and that's the reason, why, especially if you go in Middle East, right? I mean, the people who have, especially I would say the Arabs over there, they have the luxury of the money to spend,
right?
And they can definitely afford all those expenses, because if you buy a small oud,
synthetic is perfectly okay. I think synthetic oil is.
It depends.
I think
I wouldn't 100% agree with you.
They come very close to it.
Very close to it, but it's not that what it is. Because my dad, never uses synthetic.
Really?
When it comes to no, he's like, this is this is a
but
sin.
But talking about environment, I think for environmentally friendly, I think we have to go for synthetic very soon. I mean,
it depends, of course. When you're targeting the mass production out there, of course, that it has to be that way over there. But I think what I personally feel like, and I think especially in the past, I would say, give and take like 10 years, I would say, the trend about the whole beauty, the whole fashion has dramatically changed. And that specifically is because of the whole social media evolvement out there. So now, before right. It wasn't that much.
In the 80s and 90s, most of the perfume, especially perfumes, they were using all celebrities for, like they had all the celebrities' faces on the perfumes, right? Then people found out that, like, maybe it's a very mediocre perfume and using a celebrity or mediocre perfume. So they were, in a way, they were trying to fool people. Oh, like, some celebrity using this perfume, so it has to be good. And then perfume turns out to be very bad. So then after that was in the 80s and 90s. Then in late 90s and early 2000s, the celebrities started doing their own perfumes. Started making their own brands.
Yes.
So that's how it evolved, So now every designer is making perfumes. Every brand is making perfumes now.
True.
So it's
I was recently in Miami a few months back. Messi, he basically launched his own perfume fragrance.
Right. So see now,
so like every he does.
So previously that they were just faces behind one perfume and one brand, but now they stopped doing it because those brands are taking them for a ride.
But isn't that good?
They all bringing their own perfume is fine because they are the face behind their own perfumes. Previously, they were face behind some other brands. So that brand was taking people for a ride. I mean, if it's a bad perfume, people just buy it because of the celebrity.
True.
But so now they stand by it. They themselves are standing.
True.
That.
True. But so again, as getting back to the core discussion about the social media part. Because of course the way the internet has kind of evolved, everybody knows what's happening in the other part of the world, and definitely a person wants to feel, smell, like show themselves really good to others, especially in the spectrum of you're talking about social media. And that's what I personally feel like, where the whole boom about or I would say the revolutionary change, what has happened on the fashion industry, especially the beauty side, even though I'm not an expert on that, but I feel like that has played a very major role. I don't know, what's your take on that?
Social media is definitely there. I mean, you can't do without social media anymore.
But don't you feel like, people are forcefully pushing them, it's forcefully pushing them to look different, being more better, nice, just because they have to present themselves in such a manner to someone else on social media.
I think it's more into being yourself.
Is that what it is? Social media?
I think it is maybe. Asking people to come out of their shell, to see what they can do or what they can achieve. I think, it's nothing to do with that you're forcing people to buy something. I don't know. Do you agree with that? I mean,
No, basically, let's say if you post something on social media, right? So let's say if you're wearing this, amazing jacket or like a suit over there, of course I'll be inspired by you. Even if I don't have the means to buy that, I will still make an effort to get it because I want to look like you. So that's the way I feel like it's bad, right? It's bad.
Why would it be bad? Because if it's your choice.
It's your choice, but you are becoming the source of pushing me or pushing my boundaries to get it. Even though I may not be able to afford it. Let's put it that way. So there are a lot of people who might not be able to afford or at a certain level of things, but they are forced to take a step.
Why?
Just because they inspire somebody.
Getting inspired by something is not something that you want to buy exactly the same thing. You said, oh, this combination looks good. Okay, this navy blue shirt with this jacket looks good. Okay, so you would probably buy something similar. You don't have to buy the exact jacket as me. You have something similar. This combination works for you. So you would go, yeah, okay. You have in your mind, okay, now this is a combination I should work on. Maybe beige trousers with a dark brown shirt looks good. You saw somebody wearing it, and the next time you go and buy a shirt or pant for yourself, you would say, yeah, that guy was wearing this thing, looked really good on him. Let's buy that. It doesn't have to be the same brand you're buying for him, but any shopping you do, you have those images in your brain that, oh, I saw this, combination was very good. I should buy something like that.
I just feel like you're being too sincere and honest. Social media is not that way right now.
It depends on what are you showing in social media, how are you perceiving it.
Well, I think So I think that's one part of the discussion. But let's put it out this way: is that as you mentioned right back there, right? Being good, feeling nice, right? I think people nowadays are very much people associating with money. That if you want to look nice, if you want to be presentable, you need to have the means and the resource to do that. Is that true?
Not really. I mean,
not really, right?
I think you see that again. You have to have the eye for fashion. Fashion doesn't have to be expensive. Fashion can be cheap. You have eye. I mean, if you go to maybe go to Uniqlo. Uniqlo is a prime example. They sell their shirts are like for $29.99. Pants are for $49.99, and you can look good in Uniqlo clothes. So I'm not endorsing any brand, but I'm just giving you an example. You don't have to go to Giorgio Armani or Hugo Boss to look good. You can go to any stores. It's just how you mix the combination of clothing.
Exactly, that's what I feel like. But I personally feel like people nowadays put a very high price tag on it. If you want to look good and nice, you have to spend. Okay, you have to X, Y, Z brands in order for you to make good feel and look good over there.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. I mean, you can look good in any clothes you want. I mean, it's up to you how you put it together.
So. True, that's true, and that's true. And I think that's the beauty of the conversation over here is that because once again being part of the beauty industry, you being part of it such a long time over there, the word beauty by its core definition, it just look nice, feel nice, look nice, basically. But when you start basically dissecting that, so you start talking whole different depth of conversation in it over there. So now if you were to basically say, okay, the way I feel, the way I see is that, okay, when you're talking about beauty, looking, as you mentioned in the beginning, okay, you have to aesthetically look good, right? So, okay, now there are clothes out there, okay, maybe your, how you dress, what things, your shoes is there, maybe the perfumes, what you wear, or of course, basic grooming of an individual also plays an important role over there. How would you define, how would you put, if you were to prioritize, okay, which one comes first and which comes at the end, how would you do that?
In what way? I mean...
Or is it all equally important?
Can you rephrase that again?
So what I'm saying is that, when it comes into beauty, right? So beauty is a combination of a lot of different things, okay?
Right, okay.
The shoes you wear, right? Okay, of course, that's part of, the clothes you, especially how you dress up over there, right? The level of, fragrance you are using, applying over there, right? How you groom and stuff like that over there. So, but is there a specific thing like, okay, like you would give priority to shoes than to the shirt, or like, vice versa?
I understand what you mean.
Or like...
I'll tell you something. It really depends on who are you going out with, who are you meeting. Okay, first of all, look, if you are going out with some lady friend of yours, okay?
I think, yeah.
Okay, if you're going out to a restaurant, okay, first of all, manners is the number one thing. If you don't have manners, it doesn't matter. You dress up like Richard Gere, doesn't matter. So you should have manners to sit on the table. You should have manners how to treat the waiter. If you're treating the waiter very rudely, everything is gone. So I think.
So what you're saying is that having nice clothes and shoes and fragrance would not do a magic.
But if you are rude to the waiter, or if you don't know what to order, if you're crazy, you're sitting there with your elbows on the table like this, I mean, then everything's gone. I mean, everything's zero for you, right? So unless until you have manners, number one. Secondly, when a lady or anyone meets you, they of course look how you dressed. Okay, so I think elegant dressed or simple is much more simple. You can't go wrong with simple.
True.
Overdressed, you can be overdressed sometimes. You look bad overdressed. Simple is like, So, but the number one thing, as I said, is manners. How you behave yourself, how you treat other people. That's I think more important for us than anything else.
Interesting.
So that's beauty, everything or whatever, dressing or things, all besides the point. Of course, and then number one is hygiene.
Mm.
If you don't take a shower every day and you wearing perfume is no point. So you have to have personal hygiene first. So that's like, what I'm trying to say is like everything is how would I put it? Like everything is like if you are taking a shower every single day and then even if you don't put on cologne, it's fine. At least your hygiene is there, right? So I feel putting it up together, it comes from the scratch, from the inside yourself. How you behave yourself. That's your mentality. That should be there. How much hygienic are you? Then clothing and perfumes come later on. So
I think I was just
your
fixating.
nails should be done well.
I was just fixating myself how you look into it, but now you went to a complete different conversation.
Exactly. I mean, that's all.
About the manners, how you treat people out there.
So that's what I said. That's
how
not
do you
only
present yourself
exactly
while you are sitting?
Exactly.
Which way you are sitting?
Yeah.
So
it's not if you're well dressed or if you're putting on good cologne, everything is good. No, but what other things?
Isn't that only required to impress a girl?
I don't think so.
Really?
The first thing that you notice is your nails. If things are cut or not. First thing she says, your haircut or your, So it's
it's very interesting. When people come to our experience center, right? That's the first the first like many of the young crew when they come over here, they're like, we want to smell very good. We want to really attract our boyfriend. We didn't want to attract our girlfriend. And that's their. Of course, I don't meant to discuss about the other elements over there, about the manners stuff like that. But that's a prominent theme. Okay, they want to smell so good out there, and
the smell should not be overbearing. Like the whole room is reeking of your smell. You don't want that, right? So it has to be very subtle.
It has to maintain that level.
Very subtle smell. I mean, just as you say, just a few here and there. That's enough. I mean, you don't have to put all of your clothes to me, so that's one thing. So, so you don't have to be very overbearing with the smell as well. You just have to make sure how much to put on.
Interesting. This is a very interesting question, which I've asked, many people also in the past, but I think what's your take on that one? Do you wear fragrance for yourself or for other?
I would say for myself, because I prefer that smell comes, like the whole day long, you're smelling that thing, it makes you feel fresh. Especially, that's why my favorite fragrances would be light and freshy notes, like, there's citrus notes. That's one of my favorites.
So even if
I prefer citrus because that makes you feel fresh.
So you just wear for yourself. So it doesn't really matter what does a person thinks about you. Let's say if you wear some fragrance and if I don't like, it doesn't really bothers you. That's fine.
It bothered me if it was a very strong overbearing smell.
No. Like you like that fragrance, but that fragrance doesn't happen. I don't happen to like that fragrance. So is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's fine. I don't mind that. As long as I'm happy with the fragrance, it's okay. That's how it's fine. I mean, I've never seen anyone compliment me with the smell of a fragrance because I don't put on so much anyway.
Right.
So I don't. So that's fine. As long as I'm feeling happy about it, I put it on. I
like that.
Good day. It's fine.
No, because often people wear fragrance because to basically attract or impress other people.
I wouldn't know. Maybe some would, but personally, I don't do it for other people. It's for myself.
Do you dress for yourself or others?
That is a question mark. Sometimes you want people to compliment you. Yeah, I like the jacket you're wearing or like the shirt you're wearing. So that is probably one of the reasons.
So now your standardization changes.
I would like to dress first for myself.
Okay.
But then again, that's the first priority for myself.
Okay.
Then it has to be. Then I would just be waiting for maybe compliment from somebody like the shirt is nice, the belt looks good, yeah, your shoes are good. That's the secondary, but of course first for myself. But then you also in clothing you also want somebody else to look at your clothes as well. So that's why it has to be a bit different as well, so people can notice it. So when you have something different, people notice it that way.
Different is always good.
Yeah.
It could be bad or it could be good.
Yeah.
So. Very interesting. So I think we have talked a lot about different stuff. I think let's go a little bit, behind the what I would like to understand is a little bit more about, since you have had the opportunity of working with a brand like Nine West, which is one of the biggest brand out there, and I'm pretty sure that that you might have interacted with a lot of different people while working over there. What has the experience been working with them? Like what kind of some of the lessons learned while working with that brand over there?
You mean as we are a franchise for Nine West?
Yeah, as a franchise. So what do they?
Franchisee.
Again, over here also, Nine West is a big brand, right? So, I mean, of course, if a company.
I can tell you the pros and cons of working with a franchisee.
Not about that. I'm trying to understand, okay, being that kind of a brand, if a brand succeeded in such a manner, which has a footprint all around the world, right? So what are some of the core things what they are doing in order to maintain that level, or they're also basically growing on a day-to-day basis?
See, first of all, I think the price is a very big issue right now all over the world. Has to be a good price. I mean, that's why Nine West is all their manufacturing in China now, because that's the cheapest they can.
So you're saying that they are very economical.
Very economical price-wise. I mean, compared to bigger brands like, let me put a few like Dolce Gabbana or Manalo Blahnik or this other brand, what's the brand? I completely forgot the names right now. It's completely blank. Right? But there are a lot of shoe brands that are more expensive. Manolo Blahnik is very expensive. Christian Dior, even Versace is making shoes. So these brands are more expensive, and it's not for the masses. Nine West is for the masses. Nine West is like
interesting.
Nine West, Aldo are in the same region. Aldo, Nine West, Charles and Keith. So they are for the masses, and so they're more affordable brand. So that's why they've done well. Any brand that brings out in the affordable range, it does well. There's a big brand in Pakistan called Sana Safinaz. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yeah, heard about it, yes.
Sana Safinaz used to make, at one time they used to make clothes for weddings and for special occasions, right? So their prices were very high. It was unreachable for the common people.
But they were only catering the high elite class people, right?
But since they have started making lawn fabric is like a very thin fabric that is in cotton fabric in Pakistan, which is very popular amongst women. And all summer throughout they wear lawn. Okay, so since they started making lawn, their sales have gone like 10 times.
Really?
Because more people are buying lawn, and now a woman who could not afford Sana Safinaz earlier, maybe their dress would be for about 200,000 rupees. Okay, now the same dress for about 10,000 rupees, even lesser, 7,000, 6,000 rupees, they can afford something. They're saying we are wearing Sana Safinaz. If I could not afford a Giorgio Armani jacket or a suit, right? So if I found a tie with about $100, I would buy it. Oh yeah, I'm wearing a Giorgio Armani tie. Same thing. So for them, that really worked. So now they're mostly making clothes for the masses now and lesser for the elite class, because they know where the money is. So masses are buying more. So same as this brand called Cardi in Pakistan.
Yeah, I was about to basically ask you that.
Cardi is making masses now.
Cardi is the number one brand. They just recently opened a very big showroom here in New York.
Really?
I think it's in New York. Yeah, New York, Virginia.
So
yes,
they are,
but again, they are bringing that element here.
They have showrooms in London. They have showrooms
in Dubai too.
In Dubai as well. So these brands are doing well with the masses. So anything. So Nine West.
So this is exactly what I'm trying to get up to the point to understand, that these brands, who are kind of having their footprint not only the locality, even though their dresses are kind of very locally appealing, but yet they're having digital footprint all around the world.
Even Giorgio Armani, right? Giorgio Armani was a big expensive brand. They brought in Emporio Armani, which is a much cheaper brand.
Yes.
So they have to do that. Otherwise, what is the biggest selling brand nowadays? Which is the biggest selling retailer in the world? Zara. Zara is big, because the prices are reasonable. And now coming up with H&M. H&M is the same thing. So H&M, Primark, and Zara, three of the biggest retailers in the world, they are all for the masses.
So you are saying that if a person who wants to start, so they should be focusing on the masses.
Exactly, and that's where the money is. That's where people, even though the margin might be lower, but then you have everything in volumes.
Very interesting. So I think, so what advice would you give to, because you have been an entrepreneur for years now, so you have exposure on different worlds, stuff like that. So what advice would you give to, I would say, the person who wants to basically kind of, get into the realm of business, especially in this part of the place, in the United States, having, of course, we come from Pakistan, we have a certain level of thought process, we have a certain level of background, and if they want to basically dive into the world of beauty space, fashion, so any specific advice would you like to give?
In USA, again, you have to work the masses. Even if you're doing it online has to go for the masses. I mean, online is not something higher income person would buy online. People probably would go to high street store and buy there.
Very true.
So you should first of all go for online business, and then has to appeal for all the. I mean, you cannot in Pakistan. In USA, you cannot just cater to one sort of a customer. There's a multi-racial, multicultural society here.
True.
So we have to make sure that it appeals to everyone, to all the people.
True.
So that is the main thing, I think. Is first the price very reasonable, and has to appeal to all the classes of people.
Interesting. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks again. Thank you again for watching us.